Alright, what are we watching today? I picked out something that I think is going to fit this category almost perfectly. It is called City Water Supply, and this is by ERPI Classroom Films. So this is a program that we probably would have been shown in like grade school. So this is trying to educate children on how cities manage their water, which I think is interesting. I feel like we don't teach children that sort of stuff anymore. So let's dive into it, shall we? Oh, this comes from 1941 as well. This is another very early installment. So let's get watching, huh? City Water Supply. Here we go. Oh dang, another Encyclopedia Britannica films? You know, the last video we watched was also Encyclopedia Britannica, so usually I don't like watching the same sort of production company 2 times in a row, but I didn't realize that, so I guess we're just gonna roll with it. But what's funny is this is another Encyclopedia Britannica black and white film that we're watching. Usually they're in color, but this one and the one we watched yesterday or 2 days ago was also black and white, so that's interesting. So we're watching 2 black and white Encyclopedia Britannica films this week. City Water Supply. That's pretty straightforward name right there. I have a feeling I know what we're going to learn about this time around. Yeah, produced by the Encyclopedia Britannica Films. I don't know why it said ERPI Classroom Films on the little info sheet. Oh, but let's see. Willems Rudolph's PhD at Rutgers University was the collaborator. Again, another collaborator from just some random university in this country. Like, there just really seems to be no pattern on where these experts are coming from.
Water is essential to every living thing.
Water is essential to every living thing. You know, I could spend time dissecting that claim, but I don't think it's worth it. I think we're just going to keep going.
Need a continuous supply of water in order to live. In food...
Dang, that's a shot of a squirrel drinking from a river. That's an impressive shot. Like, I've never seen a squirrel drink water, like, in my entire life, and I live surrounded by squirrels.
Making and in other life processes, plants...
How do you even film a squirrel that close drinking water? You know, like, you are right next to that squirrel. That shot alone I'm impressed by, I'll say.
Water derived from rain. Roughly 1/3 of all rainfall runs off into streams, rivers, and lakes. And these...
Roughly 1/3 of all rainfall runs off, so I guess they're suggesting the rest of it gets absorbed into the soil. That also becomes runoff to a certain degree.
Constitute our chief surface water supplies. About 1/3 soaks into the ground and becomes...
About 1/3 soaks into the ground. That's interesting. That's what I said a second ago.
Our underground water.
So hang on. So if 1/3 goes off as runoff, 1/3 soaks into the ground, I would say the other third would be absorbed by plants, but doesn't it need to soak into the ground in order for it to be absorbed by plants? I don't know.
Part of the rain is used up by dense forests, which require about 20 inches annually.
Oh, so I guess that is what they're claiming here.
While grasslands prevail where the rainfall is between 10 and 30 inches. A desert is a sign of meager rainfall. Life here is greatly restricted.
You know, I like how we're talking about deserts and explaining deserts in a program about city water supply. Like, we always just end up learning about, like, not random things, but, like, really only tangentially related things. Like, did we really need a lesson in the fact that deserts don't have a lot of water in order to understand how a city uses its water? I don't think so, but, like, here we are, I guess.
Rainfall is unequally distributed.
Okay, cool. Look, oh, an old map. You know, I will say there is not very much interesting going on with these old maps of the US. The old maps are really only fun when they're like world maps.
With the result that we find native forests in the west and east.
Oh, that's funny. So we are looking at native forests. This is cool, at least. I do appreciate maps like this. This is the exact sort of map that I would show on Atlas Pro, so I'm actually having fun now.
Grass in the central states.
Hang on, so that's interesting. I'm looking at like the forests of the East Coast. So it says there isn't a forest like in the middle of New York, in the middle of Pennsylvania, and like the top of Virginia. That's interesting. I'm curious about this map now because I'm pretty sure there was forest like all over that area. You see where there's this empty patch in New York? That's literally where I live. So I'm pretty sure there's forest there as well.
And sparse desert plants in the southwest.
That was a bit of a confusing map, though. There were lots of icons and everything. I like to make my maps more simple than that.
To exist, man requires a continuous supply of water.
Dang, remember when people just used to drink water off the ground like this? Like, I'm kind of envious of the day when people didn't have fear of all the diseases, you know? Like, I can never bring myself to drink stream water like this just because I've had it drilled into my head that I'm going to get like a brain-eating amoeba or something from it. But back then, people weren't scared at all. People just drank water wherever they found it.
Springs furnish an accessible, though limited, source. Underground water may also be tapped by wells.
Dang, this is actually wild. This is why I love watching old films, right? Because we're looking at this like very classic, sort of modernized American family, but then they have this well, and it's just like old technology. It's an old tree stapled to two other old tree posts. Like this is a fantastic early well technology right here. I think it's hilarious. Like the juxtaposition of like the old wood against this person's house. It's just like it's a perfect image of like the old and the new right next to each other.
Such as this old dug well and sweep. Many large cities, some located here by dots, depend upon underground.
Large cities. So I want to pick up on the large cities. So first off, notably, there is no dot for New York City, but there is a dot for what looks like Albany, and then there's a dot for what looks like Boston, Philadelphia. I can't really tell what this one in New Jersey is. Is this like Trenton or something? I can't even tell. What's this dot in Virginia? Is that like Charlottesville? And then, yeah, I don't... Some of these dots make sense, but some of them don't quite make sense. Like, what are these two dots in Iowa? You know, like, how are there two cities in Iowa that were worth mentioning, but only one in, like, New York? You know, like, I'm curious about the explanation or the reasoning behind these dots that were chosen. Like, what is the dot in freaking Idaho over here? And freaking all the way near Idaho in Washington? Like, what are these dots?
Groundwater tapped by modern wells. For other cities, surface water taken from rivers.
Oh, okay, so now we're looking at other cities. So those were cities that use well water, and these are cities that use, what, river water?
Constitutes the only adequate and available source. Some cities take their water from nearby lakes.
Oh, okay, so now we're looking at the lakes cities. See, that's what I was saying. Look at all the cities in New York now. Now we have like Rochester, Syracuse, Buffalo. We even have Erie over here, right? Like, dang, like, okay, now I understand the map a little bit better.
Surface waters are also made available to certain cities by impounding the headwaters of rivers by dams.
Impounding the headwaters of rivers. What's interesting is for that one, they did illuminate New York City, which is interesting because I don't think New York City receives water based on dams. I'm pretty sure New York City receives like well water from the Catskills. They receive the groundwater taken from the Catskills. That's like a very well-known fact in this part of the country. So I wonder if this map is inaccurate or if it wasn't the case back then. You know, if something has changed since then. I'm curious.
America's...
Whoa, hang on a second, we gotta go back. So this is like an airplane shot of Manhattan, holy moly. So look, you can see Central Park right here, you can see Midtown, you can see the Empire State Building, and then you can sort of see downtown, but this is really amazing. This is like, you can see the East River, holy moly, this is such a cool shot. Like these shots alone are what make watching these old programs so worth it. It's just seeing like this old geography even. Like it's amazing. Like I could look at just this one shot of old Manhattan for like hours.
America's largest city.
Oh, okay, so here's downtown more. So that's interesting. So I guess downtown looks a bit different than it looks now. That's funny. Like you could really tell. Oh, and is this the Brooklyn Bridge right here? I think so. I think it is. It's hard to tell from the sky, I guess, but it's really awesome that we get to see New York City from above like this. Like this is a really spectacular view right here.
America's largest city depends mainly on watersheds for its water supply. New York City needs 1 billion gallons of water daily.
New York needs 1 billion gallons of water daily. And that was back then, what, 1941? Oh, wow, this is like pre-war almost. Also, that's wild. I didn't realize that. So this is pre-war New York City.
An amount about equal to the flow in this river.
Well, we're getting to talk about the Hudson River. I can literally see the part of the Hudson River that I grew up on right here. This is so cool. This is a cool map. And I think we're gonna get to see the Catskills in a second. That's my guess anyway. Because as far as I know, the Hudson has never really been dammed. So I don't really think we're gonna get water from a dam reservoir or anything. I think we're going to learn about the real way New York gets its water.
Wells and cisterns originally used became inadequate. And about a century ago, the city started to develop the Croton watershed.
Oh, the Croton watershed. See, this is where I grew up in. I actually spent a lot of time on the Croton Aqueduct. So this is like really pertinent to me.
50 miles away.
Like I used to go sailing. I feel like I said that in an old video. I used to go sailing by Croton, on the river by Croton. So like I am very familiar with this area.
The water was carried by an aqueduct, here crossing...
Aqueduct, that's what I was saying. I used to run for school for cross country on the old aqueduct trail. So like there's a whole like, all of this stuff is no longer there actually. That's funny. So I might actually get to see the aqueduct. That's actually amazing. So yeah, where I come from, there's a trail going through like the whole town called the Aqueduct. And it's just a grassy trail. It's not like there is an aqueduct, but it's called the Aqueduct because of what we're looking at right here. This thing. This was the aqueduct that took water from the Croton Reservoir down to New York City. That's amazing. I'm so glad I'm getting to see this though, because for my whole life I was so curious about the aqueduct.
The Harlem River. The continued growth of the city...
Yeah, okay, so we started with the Croton Reservoir, but now we're expanding to the Catskills Reservoir. That's what we're about to see, I guarantee you.
Soon necessitated additional water supplies.
There you go. This is the Catskills right here. I know New York geography well enough to know this is the Catskills. I could probably point out to you Slide Mountain on this. It's right here, actually. You can see it, yeah.
Then, a watershed was utilized in the Catskill Mountains, 100 miles away.
I think Windover made a video about this recently, or at least within the past few years. If you really want like a modern video on this, go watch Windover's video, but also compare this to Windover's. How about that? Go watch this and then go watch Windover's production on the same thing and compare them. Let me know who did it better.
In this watershed, the runoff in streams is impounded by a dam with associated dikes and weirs to form a reservoir.
Wow, this is cool. This is cool footage of the Catskills from the 40s. I mean, yeah, this is exactly what the Catskills look like, but it's so amazing to see it from all the way back then.
Associated dikes and weirs to form a reservoir. Later, a second watershed was developed on the northern slope of the Catskills by constructing a dam to impound its water.
Oh man, what is this? The Never Sink? Oh man, no, I know what this dam is called. Oh no. Is it the Never Sink or is it something else? The Wanna Sink? I don't know. I know the name of this dam though, I swear to God. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I know the names of all these things.
From this reservoir, a tunnel, 18 miles long, passes under the dividing mountains and discharges its water into a creek, which flows into the reservoir on the south slope.
Wow, that's amazing. Like that's an impressive animation first off, but also like an impressive like accomplishment of human engineering is to dig a tunnel. Is that what they're saying? This whole white span is a tunnel going under the Catskills flowing into a creek? That's just like, that's so wild. That's impressive. It's just like, I feel like nobody appreciates how much work that probably was to dig. Like, I don't know if there's any footage or pictures of the construction of this tunnel, but I'm so curious about it now.
From this Catskill system, water enters an aqueduct and continues on through this aqueduct for about 70 miles to an intermediate reservoir.
Oh, an intermediate reservoir. It stopped right about where I grew up. This might be like the Kensico Dam that we're about to learn about or something.
Through the greater portion of this distance, the aqueduct is...
Dang, look at this. This is Westchester in 1941. Wow. Westchester is the county that we're talking about right here. And like, wow, this pretty much looks like what Westchester looks like today, minus like, this pretty much looks like part of Westchester. Westchester has a lot more suburban development now, but like, this is interesting. I hope we get to see even more.
Of cut and cover construction. About 17 feet.
Oh wow, this is a sick animation too. Again, like another real engineering-esque animation right here.
Feet in diameter. Grade tunnels carry the water through obstructing mountains.
Dude, another cool animation. Like, they transitioned from real footage to an animation. That's very cool. Like, I don't think I've ever attempted that in my entire time on YouTube, is trying to merge live footage with my own animations. I've always kept them separate. So it's always so impressive to see them trying that in this day and age, you know, with their technology.
To underpass the majestic Hudson River.
Yeah, this is the Hudson. I can't tell what part of the Hudson this is, though. This looks like further upstream.
A pressure tunnel sinks 1,000 feet through the underlying rock.
No way, does the tunnel really make this right angle of a turn around the Hudson? Like, I mean, maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe if you zoomed in, it would be a bit more rounded, but like maybe from like a macro perspective, it is just like a right angle turn. I hope so.
This enormous problem.
How do you even dig that, though? How do you dig a tunnel that's like just big enough for one pipe? You know, like how did any of this get done? I'm still so amazed by the fact that all of this was done so long ago.
This enormous problem required...
Oh, here we go. Here's the digging of the tunnel. This is exactly what I was asking for. Awesome. Wow. So this is crazy. This is like the tunnel under the Hudson River. This is wild.
Extensive cooperative work.
Hey, look at these guys. They're swinging pickaxes. I did not think they would be digging these with pickaxes. I thought they'd have some sort of machine going.
By geologists.
And look at their freaking jackets. They're like rain jackets. Oh, because they're underneath the river.
Engineers.
Thing is, all the water pouring in from above, is that like water from the Hudson River? Is it actually like leaking into the tunnel?
Geologists, engineers, and other experts in tunnel construction.
Dude, this is so sketch. Do you see all the water flowing down from the ceiling? I would not feel safe in this tunnel.
Cutting through solid rock hundreds of feet underground, as shown here, is only one of the many problems in constructing an aqueduct.
This is a real treat, though, to get to see like the underbelly of this operation. This is sick.
Because of the difference in elevation, gravity provides sufficient pressure to transport...
Dude, this is such a funny little animation. You can barely even see it. It looks like it's being drawn on like an Etch-a-Sketch. But it is conveying the information, at least. I do understand what they're talking about here.
...transport the water from the Catskill reservoirs to the Kensico Intermediate Reservoir.
The Kensico, there we go. I literally said that. I've been to this dam a whole bunch of times.
The great bulk...
It's so funny. This is the Kensico Dam from 1941. That's so wild because there are like, if you look at this, there's like this whole park. I guess it's still flat here, but I don't think there are that many trees here anymore. And there are houses just like all over behind this. It's just, wow. Okay, if you're from New York, if you're from Westchester, this should be like blowing your mind a little too. What's so funny is that it looks like every other dam I've talked about on this channel already, though. It's really not a special dam. It's just the dam that I grew up next to.
The great bulk of this water remains in this reservoir for about 1 month. From here, it flows to a small equalizing reservoir, which takes care of hourly demand fluctuations.
That's interesting. So that is right on the border between the Bronx and Westchester. That's cool. I don't know exactly what reservoir they're referring to there, though.
With increasing population and water consumption, New York City has been compelled to provide the Delaware system, consisting of 3 separate watersheds still farther away. This has necessitated the construction of a new aqueduct that finally connects with the original system.
This is wild. This is like, again, Wendover made a very similar video, but to see all this information displayed like around the time it was actually like put into play is just so fascinating. It's like this like information technology is the same information technology the people who constructed this had access to. Like, this is the best way for them to visualize what they constructed. You know, like they didn't even have anything more accurate than this. Maybe they did. Maybe they had slightly more accurate stuff, but like this is still a pretty good summation of our understanding of the geography of the area at the time.
Represented here is the watershed system utilized by America's largest city.
I feel like we need to appreciate this map more before we move on. Like, look at how much land area is required to satisfy the water needs of New York City. And this is only in 1941. This isn't even like the modern population. I don't know how many people were in New York City, but it must have been like 1 million or 2, not 8 million that there are now. So like you can only imagine the huge demand for water that exists within this city based on like this map alone. I'm so glad we're talking about New York City. When I picked this program, I thought we'd just be talking about some generic city in middle America somewhere. But the fact that we're getting to talk about like a city that I know something about, like this is so much more enjoyable.
Just as important as an adequate water supply is a safe water supply.
That's fair. There's no point in having a water supply if it's not safe to drink.
Municipal sewage treatment plants reduce pollution caused by
Oh, what bridge is this? I don't even know what bridge this is. This isn't the Tappan Zee. The Tappan Zee wasn't even built yet, I don't think. So like, I don't know. I don't know what bridge this is.
sewage and industrial waste.
Dang, look at this. Look at this shot of New York City, though. Typhoid cases. Okay, here we go.
Typhoid fever is one disease commonly carried by water.
Typhoid. Look at all these typhoid numbers. Oh, I like this little bar graph or a little pictograph that we're getting here, too. This is funny. I guess it's not funny. It's about typhoid, but like, it's a funny way of representing data, I guess.
In one city, the installation of sand filters and the practice of chlorination was followed by a marked decrease in the number of typhoid fever cases. Until today, this disease is very rare.
I can barely even see these images.
Where scientific controls are employed.
Wow, so that's impressive. So all they did to drive the typhoid cases down was install sand filters and chlorinate the water. That's interesting. Again, I feel like that's something that people nowadays just don't appreciate, like how prevalent typhoid was even in like the drinking water. Like there was no escaping typhoid during this time. Like it was in the water, which I feel like people need to understand more.
The laboratory occupies a key position in safeguarding the city water supply.
Dude, I love the science researcher B-roll that they captured of this guy. Like, there's no way what he's doing is actually, like, so important that he needed to do this in front of the cameras. They needed a shot of him doing something so that they could include it in this program. It's funny. That's how media production works.
Water samples are collected daily. One test, known as a fermentation test, indicates the presence of contamination.
Again, it's so impressive that not only did we have all this knowledge, but that we were taking action using it. Like we were actually testing the water and we were filtering it and we were looking for these different bacteria that we didn't even really know about at this time. It's so impressive how much work and care went into something like this.
Furthermore, the water is examined for microscopic organisms. Many of these organisms impart specific odors and tastes to the water.
That's interesting. I never really thought about the taste of the microorganisms in the water, but I guess that makes sense. I mean, I guess with water, there is no other taste besides the bacteria inside of it. That's just, that's interesting. I'm going to think about that for like the rest of my life now. Like every time I drink water and there is a taste, I'll be thinking back to this.
But certain bacteria cannot easily be detected under the microscope. Therefore, a measured amount of water is placed in a dish, and a sterilized culture medium is added and mixed. This is then placed in an incubator for 1 or 2 days. In this culture medium, each bacterium has now multiplied into a colony that is easily detected.
It's a little concerning that that's the drinking water that made all those colonies, but I guess, no water is sterile by any means, so whatever.
These colonies can now be counted or examined under a microscope for identification. The water is also examined chemically for the presence of foreign substances that may affect its palatability or its use in industry and homes.
Again, I kind of wish we had examples of that, like what could there be in this water that would like reduce its viability in like an industrial setting, like if it has too much calcium, something builds up on like, I don't know. Like that's the thing is like, I want to know the actual examples of like why we needed to do stuff like that. That sort of stuff always interests me.
The presence of ammonia nitrogen indicates organic decay and is determined by an elaborate test involving distillation. An indicator, whose intensity of tint is revealed in a colorimeter, gives a measure of the
colorimeter? That's a funny name for an instrument, a colorimeter.
amount of nitrogen in the original water sample.
But look how complex like all this machinery and like equipment is. That's what I'm impressed by. Not the fact that we knew how to do this, but that we had like all the equipment necessary to do it. Like we had already figured out the instruments needed in order to carry out water testing. It's impressive no matter what.
Most surface waters pick up fine particles of clay or soil, causing turbidity. This is tested with a candle at the bottom of a cylinder.
Candle at the bottom of a cylinder. I'm struggling to imagine how you test for turbidity using something like this. But you know what? Let's learn. How about...
The water sample is poured in until the turbidity obscures the light of the candle.
All right, so the way that you measure turbidity is that you pour in water until it obscures the light of the fire. That's interesting. That, like, I don't know how a cylinder obscures the entire light of a fire, but that's an interesting test.
When water stands quiescent for some time...
Quiescent. When water stands quiescent for some time. That's a good vocab word right there. That I couldn't even give you a description of the word quiescent, but like... Impressive. That's impressive vocabulary, I guess. That's the new word of the day. I should do that for every one of my videos, is just pick a word that I've never heard before, because there always is some. Quiescent water. I bet I could spell it, to be honest.
When water stands quiescent for some time, as in a lake or reservoir, however, much of this suspended matter settles out. To speed up this settling process, alum is often added to the water.
Well, you know what? We learned about this recently, didn't we? In the program just called Water, they add like a material to conglomerate with all the oils and stuff and it falls to the bottom. Is that what we're learning about right now?
This forms a flaky precipitate.
A flaky precipitate. That's another way of describing it, I guess.
Which settles out.
Yeah, okay, I was right. I'll pat myself on the back for that. I was paying attention.
Carrying with it much of the suspended material and bacteria. Since alum makes water acid and corrosive, lime is added to render the water slightly alkaline.
See, this is also what I find so interesting. Because we need to do so many like chemical processes to the water that we drink, like we need to add so many chemicals just to take other chemicals out. It's just like, it's so fascinating what goes into like our water supply. It really is. Like, I guess that's what this whole program is about, but it's just, I guess it's making me realize that like, this is such a complex yet vital process for us.
Many cities use filter beds of sand.
Filter beds of sand? Is that what we're looking at? I don't really even understand what I'm seeing right now.
To remove this solid matter. This sight well, 8 feet deep, indicates the clearness of the water after treatment. Cities more and more mix activated carbon to the water to remove...
Activated carbon. That's funny because that's what they said in the other program we watched. Or I think they said charcoal, but I'm pretty sure that's what activated carbon is. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's the same thing. So they're using the same thing as the other one too. That's fun.
Color, odor, and taste. Aeration is another common method of removing odors and increasing palatability of drinking water.
Is that true? You can really just remove odors from water by aerating it? Like you're spraying all this water up. So is the bacteria becoming airborne and leaving the water? Because isn't the bacteria the thing giving it the odor? So I just don't think that really makes a lot of sense. I feel like the solid materials, like even a microscopic bacteria would still fall back to the water surface and just re-enter it. But maybe, I don't know. That's an interesting technique, I guess. So they're just spraying it into the air to clean it? That's wild. I would not trust that, to be honest.
The final step in water treatment involves adding chlorine. This completes the sterilization.
Fluorine, that's interesting. I guess we add fluorine now, but I don't know if there's much of a difference.
By destroying all harmful bacteria and other organisms. In New York City...
That is interesting that they didn't use fluorine, though. That means that is a more modern development in our water industry or our water systems.
Water already made pure and safe enters the city through 2 huge tunnels drilled through solid rock about...
Dang, these tunnels go right under New York City. I hope, like, nobody bad sees these tunnels, right? Like, you could inflict some serious damage to New York City just knowing where these tunnels are. I don't want to give anyone any ideas or anything. It seems kind of sketchy that they are illustrating for us where these tunnels that deliver millions of people their drinking waters is, you know? Like, maybe we should leave that information unknown.
Drilled through solid rock about 200 feet underground.
Again, these animations are so sick, especially for the time they were created. This is like the fact that they're matching like real footage to the animation. It's impressive, man. Like nobody appreciates this sort of stuff. This sort of animation is again like half the reason why I started this channel. It's just because there is so much work that's going unappreciated these days.
Risers bring the water up near to the surface. The water flows from the risers to connecting mains, then into lateral street mains, and finally through service connections into each building on the street.
Wow, see, like this is fascinating. Like obviously I guess this all makes sense. It makes sense that it's done like this, but I just never really thought about it before, you know? Like this is my first time really learning about like the water distribution system underneath New York City. This is cool, and we're getting to see such good visuals for it as well.
The higher elevation at the reservoir causes water to flow into the city by gravity. However,
it's also interesting that the aqueduct isn't perfectly flat. Like it does go down and go back up, and it has this and it has like this terrain of its own. It's interesting that it still flows.
Some consumption points are higher than the source, and pumps must be used.
Dang, look at these huge pumps. These are crazy.
Many high buildings have their own pumps to maintain a sufficient water pressure to the top floors.
See, what's funny is I don't even know what building this is. You know, like this probably was once like a very notable building on the New York skyline, but it's probably been like surpassed by so many other buildings that it's like not even well known anymore. It's just like, does anyone watching know what building this is? Because like, I don't even know. I've never seen this building before.
The water thus provided has many uses.
And look at the people though. That's what I love too, is just seeing like what the people looked like. They really do look like my idea of people from the 50s. It's so bizarre when I have like those stereotypes confirmed for me. Like look at this boy's hair. Like look how greased and combed it is. And look at the girls' dresses. Like those are the exact dresses I thought people in the 50s wore. You know, it's just like, it is picture perfect 50s right here.
It flows through thousands of safe drinking fountains. It is used in the cooking of many of our foods.
So this is what an American sink looked like in the 40s. This is crazy. Look at all those vegetables. Wow, this is cool. I love seeing like inside American homes as well, because like that part feels very comparable to my life. You know, like I can actually compare what this person's house looks like to my house. So this is just, it's always fun getting to see inside of people's houses. Like this sink, this is a sick sink. Like I wish my kitchen had this sink.
Cooking of many of our foods, in laundering our clothing, and in other ways.
Hang on. Is this laundering clothing? Is that what that is? Whoa. Like, that's an old washing machine? That's crazy. It's like I never knew what laundry machines looked like. I guess that's what they are, right? They're laundry machines.
In laundering our clothing, and in other ways, water contributes to cleanliness and health.
So whose clothing are they washing? Is that just like an industrial dry cleaner? That's not a dry cleaner though. It's just an industrial laundromat, I guess.
Water is used in generating steam for heating buildings. Water aids in defending the city's health by flushing our streets and by carrying away sewage.
Look at this street cleaner. I feel like we don't do this in New York anymore. We don't have like huge water trucks just like flushing the streets out. Maybe I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I've never seen a truck like this. Like it's so funny to see that back then. Like they really were taking care of the city better than they are now.
Clean water plays an important role in healthful recreation.
Oh wow, is this a swimming pool? A public swimming pool? Is this the Brooklyn Bridge or is it a different bridge? I feel like this is in Brooklyn, right? We're not even in Manhattan anymore. We're in Brooklyn. This is like, I feel like this is all a park now or something. I feel like this pool is not here. And look how big this pool is. Holy crap. This is like the biggest public swimming pool I've ever seen. Like, did they actually have this in New York City? Like, I know I was bragging earlier that I kind of know this area, but I do not know anything about this ginormous swimming pool right on the East River. Like, can somebody write a comment explaining this to me a bit more? I want to know more about this swimming pool now. I don't know why I rely on you guys to know so much. Like, I don't know if anyone still around knows anything about this, but like, I want to know. I want to know, like, this definitely still isn't here. That's the thing. Like I think I've had this view. I think I've been to this park before. It's just like, it's wild seeing a huge swimming pool here.
Water also is an essential part of the composition of beautiful fountains.
What a random other thing that water is used for. Water is also part of the beautiful composition of fountains. Like, I guess, like that's like the last thing on the list they should have mentioned for the important uses of water is, oh, they also look nice in fountains. Like, nobody needed to mention that. Like, that could have been cut.
The control of destructive fires requires water.
Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The last thing water did was flow through a fountain, and now it's being used to put out fires. I think putting out fires is actually more important than looking pretty in a fountain. Maybe that's just me, but like, it's just funny. It's just funny the order of operations they went in here.
Sometimes in great amounts. Water, without which man cannot live, must be supplied in abundance and with safety to assure healthful living.
Hang on. I want to watch this mom pour her child a glass of water from her sink, because she did something weird there. She's filling it, and then she's emptying it, and then she's filling it again, and then she's emptying it again. It's weird. But I'm also interested to see them drinking straight from the tap, because I have to imagine they didn't have Brita filters back then. They probably didn't even have refrigerators back then. So like, because I grew up drinking New York City water, and yeah, you just drink it from the tap. That's like something that people from everywhere else in the world think is like the strangest thing ever. Like, when you drink water from the tap, people are like so shocked. And it's just like, I don't know, like, that's just normal from this area, I guess. So it's so funny to see them doing that, like, all the way back in the 50s, too. That's just like, that's where it started, I guess. And I guess they didn't have any other options, right? Like, they didn't have a Brita filter, so they did just drink straight from the tap.
In a modern city.
Oh, there you go. That's the end. I did not think that was going to be the end, but I guess that's fitting. The very last shot is a kid drinking water from the sink. That's like, that is the whole purpose of the water supply, really, is so that people can have water. So I guess I get why they finished on that shot. I wasn't expecting it. But that was another enjoyable watch. I'm glad I got to see so many shots of old New York City. I feel like that's maybe the most valuable thing in this whole program, is just the preservation of how the country looked back then, you know, especially the city. Like, getting to see those aerial shots of the city, that was like really cool. I'm glad I got a mention of the Kensico Dam. Like, if any of my viewers from Westchester are watching, I know you guys are impressed with me for that one at least. But yeah, this was really cool. The animations were amazing as well. Like, this really did convey the information well. Like, again, go watch the Wendover video and compare it to this and tell me which one actually explained the whole process more. You know, like, Wendover spent a little bit more time on the transportation aspect of it, whereas this was more focused on like the uses of the water. But like, either way, like, this was a very good demonstration of water usage in cities, I guess. I mean, I guess that's just the title of the program. I should have expected that. It's just like, it was effective at what it claimed to be, you know? Like, this was a very good lesson on city water supply. That's just, it's exactly what it set out to be, I guess. I've learned a lot about water already by doing this, so I think I've said everything I need to say. So with that, if you enjoyed watching and would like to help support this channel, you can follow the link in the description that'll take you over to the Internet Archive. The Internet Archive is where I get all of these old programs from, so if you want to help support this channel, leave them a donation. And with that, I think we're ready to cut to black.